Yesterday, I posted about the first step in getting prepared for a virtual meeting. And those of you who read it know that my philosophy about virtual presenting is to show up the way you want to be perceived. People form an impression of you within 10 seconds. So my question to you is, how do you want people to think of you? What does your environment look like behind you? What clothes are you wearing? Are you buttoned up? Are you greasy? Are you in your bathrobe? So that was one of the things I spoke about yesterday. So show up the way you want to be perceived. A second key to preparing for a virtual meeting is to co-collaborate on the rules of engagement on that call. And what I mean by that is, if you set some ground rules that everyone agrees to, you have a much better chance of having a best practice meeting. So some of those rules could be no putting anyone on mute, be focused and distraction proof, no taking calls during a meeting. In terms of cutting people off, let's talk about how to be a better listener. That could be one of the rules that you set up as a team. Another rule that is helpful is when someone cuts someone off, what do? How do you jump in and jump in nicely? But when people are long-winded, you really want to be able to manage that. How long should the meeting be? On average, virtual meetings should be no more than 90 minutes. Otherwise, people really have had enough. And actually, my rule is no more than 45 minutes to 60 minutes. Finally, a rule that I find helpful is to have a facilitator or a moderator for your meeting, not you if you're the presenter. And so a moderator serves a lot of purposes. One is they make sure that you stay on track with your agenda. Another part that's important for facilitators to do is to keep track of time. If you've been speaking for more than 5 minutes or so, it's time for your listeners to be engaged with, ask them a question, tell a story, something that breaks up the monotony of one-way presenting. A facilitator also can cut people off if they're speaking too long. Or if you're over time, they are the person who says, we have one more item on our agenda, let's move from agenda item 2 to agenda item 3. So this facilitator moderator really manages the meeting. A good example, I do a lot of coaching on Zoom, and sometimes it's large groups. And my moderator tells me when there's a chat or someone's raising their hand and wants to speak. So the moderator is responsible for managing the success of the whole meeting. So those are my tips for now on getting prepared. Again, show up the way you want to be perceived. Co-collaborate on some rules that can make your meetings terrific. And finally, have a facilitator or moderator. So happy remoting.